Hello. That should be it going live. There we go. I think. Well, it says excellent connection on YouTube, so hello. How you doing? Hello Ish, hello Simon. How you guys doing? Um, Ish forgetting which Simon is which Simon. Yes. No, this is British Simon with a Peugeot 306. Do you still have that? I don't remember. If I remember rightly, Simon does digital display, like digital signage displays, like big LED panels and stuff. Um, 308 sore subject. 308, of course. Is there even a 306? Hello, Joe. Good to have you. How you doing, man? How's things? Also, again, apologies for the noise, but it is currently like 32 degrees outside. It's that's too hot. So the air conditioner that's just off screen. Wow. Next to that chair, just that side of the chair, is running, keeping me alive and cool. So I'm sorry for the noise, but you're just going to have to deal with it. Alright? £900 bill when it needed aircon? What? Okay, I assume the answer is regassing, which is like 75 quid, plus a new compressor, I would guess. Because a condenser is maybe 100 quid. Unless it's the uh, what's the one evaporator? The one that's in the dashboard. If it needs a dash out job, then the dash out jobs suck. Um, but it's normally either the compressor or the condenser that goes. Or is it evaporator dryer and the condenser is the one in the? I don't know. Can I remember? It's one or the other. Anyway. Condenser, radiator, whole high pressure pipes, and a day's labour. £900 though! Jings! Like I replaced the condenser in my Volvo S40 for like 100 quid brand new from your car parts. Like it had already degassed itself, so all I had to do was take the old one out, put the new one in, and the pipes were dealer only. Ah, fair. I mean, that's that might be the case. If you have enough time, you might also find them on somewhere like Autodoc. But um, yeah. Uh, Hello, Essentialist. Wonderful state to be in. I hope you're okay. Um, yeah, I figured that was more a show of support than an expected state to be in. Not too bad. Been a bit MIA lately for the streams. Been busy with video stuff. Also, mum's been in the hospital. Hope everyone's good. Nice to see normal faces again. Well, I hope that your mum's all right. I too have been in the hospital actually. In fact, actually, as of tomorrow, I start my at-home injections for immunosuppressants, which is nice. Um, the as yet unnamed three-letter treatment plan has officially properly sorted. I had the GP appointment this morning where they didn't give me any hassle about it, and I cannot explain just how much anxiety I had at 9 a.m. this morning and how re- like relieved I was crying in my car at 11 o'clock. So, um, I, uh, 3 bottles of soju got a man feeling like Superman. Well, as long as you don't try and fly like Superman or anything. Um. Oh Jesus, Joe. Yeah, oh, fuck me. Christ. Um. God. Well, but I mean, besides just saying, I, you know, I hope she's all right. I hope things go well. Uh, I, yeah. I'm real sorry to hear about that. And I hope that you and her are okay, man. Christ. Um, essentially, I mean, so first of all, my uncle, um, used to be in the RAF as a loadmaster for the C-130 Hercs, which was great fun for me because they do a lot of family days and they I've hung out the back of a C-130 Hercules while flying more than once. I've flown a C-130 Herc simulator, uh, which was a lot of fun as well. And so yeah, uh, uh, my I wanted to be a fighter pilot. So I think in terms of my like childhood career aspirations, it was probably I think it was train driver, right? Thomas the Tank Engine, obviously. Um, then it was astronaut, and then when I realised that you have to really be quite smart to be an astronaut, fighter pilot. Which, to be honest, you still have to be quite smart to be one of them as well. Uh, although actually, in the like, early 2000s, just being an astronaut was basically you had to be American to do it, or have any hope of doing it, because the ESA wasn't really doing as much as they are now. Um, and then game developer, and then I stumbled upon doing this, and what I'm doing, but what I've been doing full time for the last decade. Um, but I like joining probably not the military, but there was one point where I was kind of desperate enough that like joining the police wasn't an entirely like off the table backup option. If all went tits up here, go and be a bobby for a bit. I think that was mostly though because I am an adrenaline junkie. If you can see that, besides the train driver, because I was like 5, and everything after that was rockets, jets, and then like the backup option was driving real fast, chasing people. So you see where my priorities lie. Uh, um, all we can do is whenever they need whatever they needed to do, got to keep laughing or we'll cry. Mum is a nightmare patient too. She's stubborn as a mule and says it as it is, which the doctors found out. Nice. Um, I wish her and you the best. And did you pretend the C-130 sim had a bunch of ordnance poking at the side? Well, considering it's a C-130 and not a Typhoon, no, no. I was mostly focusing on flight. Well, I took off fine, I flew it fine, landing less good. I was like 7 though, so I almost landed a C-130 Herc at 7. Child prodigy. Wasn't the Spectre a C-130 chassis? Oh, God knows. I uh, I mean, I don't know the Spectre itself, but I do know that some did have like Gatlings mounted side out the side. But yeah. As a kid, I wanted to be a rally driver. Well, you see, the thing is that I want to be a rally driver now. In fact, I was looking up like courses and experience days to get a go. Um, so I duh, 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 duh. Where am I at? As a kid, I wanted to drive tanks. Didn't know I'd grow up to be the size of a tank instead. Yeah, tank is in like muscle, bro, right? Yeah, yeah, that's it. And yes, essentially this is going for field communications and IT uh, in let's say a European military. I did express concern about the words European and military at this point in time. Okay, Dutch military. There you go. But yes, I did express some concern. Current affairs. However, he's assured me that he cannot be drafted. uh, yeah, exactly. I don't know if you could follow orders if you tried. I have 6 months of BT. That's not battle training. That's like British Telecom, right? Oh, you've already made the joke. Never mind. Um, Basic training. Oh dear. Best of luck, soldier. One of the requirements is 2.2 kilometers in 12 minutes. Well, I know that my asthmatic gas when you do that. At least without an inhaler, anyway. Um, I have 5 months left where I can still apply to the Territorial Army. I was very sorely tempted as, like, as infantryman or some specialty field. As someone who did two different types of cadets growing up, I think I've got my fill of army life. Um, as I was yeah yeah. I wasn't even very good at filling orders. I was great at the shooting stuff. Oh dear. I went on a few like field exercises, basically like a weekend camp. And there was I think it was one that we're doing a sort of like exercise and like stakeout. Basically, we're like in the woods and we're all lying down on this like ravine by a path, or like hill, like really wet leafy hillside, so it was horrible to lie down on. It's a terrible like sensory experience for someone who's autistic. I didn't know at the time. And we were there basically like all night. And I was asking like, okay, so where do we go to the toilet? We're lying sort of in a stakeout position, waiting for people to come by. What do we do? So that was fun. Cooking out of mess tins and tasting the beautiful taste of aluminium and terrible like lighter bricks. I Sorted Food did a military rations MRE video, like taste testing the various MREs, and obviously the first one they did was Britain's one, and to see the mess tins, to see that horrible, like you crack it open as your sort of stove, so you put the lighter like bricks in, you light them, and then you put your mess tin on top, and you cook your food in the tin. To see that horrible thing, because they're always kind of slightly rusty, and like creaks. Yeah, solid fuel stove. I was just there was a lot of memories there, and not many of them were pleasant. So yeah, but I still can probably disassemble an L98 A1 or A2 quite easily. I still I had a like family holiday to America when I was like 15 or something, and what we stopped in Vegas, and the thing that I wanted to do in Vegas as a 15-year-old was shoot guns. So when I was firing, I think it was the Scar H, Scar L, whichever one is the real one and not the COD gun. I had a stoppage, a cartridge got stuck in the bolt, and I immediately cocked it over, pulled the bolt back, and held it in the catch. And you know the guy who's standing there watching you, you know, to help you when that happens, was like, I could see his hand at the peripheral vision come to fix it. I did it, and I could see him just slowly retreat again, like 15-year-old kid. It was the 5.56, so it'll be the Scar L then, I assume. So yeah, I have a remarkable amount of experience with firearms as a Brit, let alone a still. I mean, I say still relatively young. I'm almost 30, although most of you are pensioners by now, so I guess I am still young. Oh dear. Actually, I have some tech things to talk about this week. I know, can you believe it? Can you believe it? Which one do I start with? They're both PCBs, actually. And a loud car going by. I'll wait for the Chav and the Civic to go by. Right, let's start with this one then. This is a... so under there is a Raspberry Pi CM5, and this is exactly what you think it is. That is, in fact, a PCIe slot connected to a Raspberry Pi. This is a board that lets you run a graphics card with a Raspberry Pi. It also, at least in theory anyway, comes preloaded with Home Assistant with graphics drivers pre-installed. So you buy this board, it's a mini ITX form factor, and you can, in fact, attach a graphics card to it. Mostly for like local AI sort of stuff. But it's an option that's there. It also has a little like breadboardy area with 5 volts and 3.3 volts. It has the full GPIO headers. The power button goes there. Some jumper controls. Camera connectors. Dual HDMI ports. Gigabit Ethernet. Dual USB 3 and the programming port. Even has a coin cell, and even has 2 fan headers. 4-pin as well. Yeah. Pretty sweet, right? Oh, you can even see the LEDs through the... that's fun. Does the CM5 have one PCIe 4-lane? It has 2 Gen 3 lanes. So you're not going to be getting killer performance there, but yes, you can and do have some PCIe lanes available. Yeah. Which I think is pretty sweet. Pretty cool. I actually have 2 videos that relate to that. One is the one that I actually filmed today, which is a bit of a comparison between like Raspberry Pis, Arduinos, and ESP32s, because a lot of people talk about them as sort of a kind of whole, but there are some differences, so I thought it'd be interesting to talk about. And then the other will be an actual video testing this. Just had little teething issues with it, so we're working that out. And then the other thing is my own hardware, my own boards. This is the latest and greatest peripheral testing tool. This is the one that I was showing off on in CAD basically, but Yeah, there is. It's here. I've even soldered some headers on. So that is a load cell chip. That's the main microcontroller. That's an op amp for the Hall effect sensor. That's flash storage, and under there is a motor controller to control the linear actuators. Isn't it cute? Eee! So yeah, I haven't actually used them yet. I've programmed I've burned the bootloader, but I haven't installed my own software on them yet. So that'll be a project for either tomorrow afternoon or the weekend, after I do an oil change and check out a squeak on my car. Hello, Simon. How you doing? How's things? How you doing? I applied for the army. I applied for IT in the army when I was in school. Then I saw basic training. I ducked out. Nice. The infantry is the least interesting part, but that's where dunderheads like me end up. Oh dear. Excited for new hardware. I am. It's here. I haven't tested it out to see if it works yet, but we'll get there. We're getting there. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, here is a comparison of V1 to V2. I think you can mostly see what I've done, which is basically just increase the height to be able to include the load cell, because everything here is basically the same. So yeah. Yeah. I got rid of a few bits actually. What did I get rid of? Can't remember. Yeah. There you go. V2's bigger, so it's better. Indeed. Indeed. It's like 30 plus degrees here. Oh, it's dropped to 27.85 in the garden. Yeah, I'm dying. It's gonna be over 30 tomorrow. Like it peaked at 32 in the garden a little over an hour ago. It's coming down nicely, which is great, but yeah, it's gonna be. Oh. I've caved and bought some AC machines for the house. I can't do these 3 days at 28 anymore. Yeah, no, me neither. That's why I have that one and the one in the bedroom. I did install a ceiling fan in the bedroom, like probably 2 months ago now, and oh my god, it's so nice. Ha 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 ha. It's so great. Yeah, it's wonderful. Better than the AC, not because it cools the room, it doesn't, but it cools you really, really well. So that's all that really matters. Yeah, yeah. I was tempted to put a ceiling fan in basically every room in the house, which might seem a bit excessive, but also, ha 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 ha. Went ballroom, I assume, dancing with my lady friend on Saturday. I have 2 left feet, 2 left arms, and 2 left hands. So yeah, interesting night of dancing. Nice. As long as you had fun. Don't you basically have to be sweating already for fans to help in this weather? Well, kind of, but also no. That fan, especially because it's massive, like it's, I think probably 5 to 6 feet in diameter, uh, in total. Um, it spins pretty slowly, but it wafts so beautifully and really does keep you nice and cool. Um, so yeah, highly recommend ceiling fans, especially big ones. Um, this one's actually like has an RF remote control that I do kind of want to be able to emulate, to be able to pulse stuff from Home Assistant. Like to be able to turn it on at set times if the temperature in the bedroom is high enough, etc. Maybe even a little before we get to bed so that there's a bit of air circulation and that sort of stuff. Because it really does help just having air movement. So yeah, highly recommended. Oh yeah, the other thing that I think I've mentioned about 500 times before is that I do want a proper air conditioning unit here, like a mini split, or actually a multi-head mini split. So one there and one in our bedroom, and then one outdoor unit. The problem is that to do that, you need to be F-gas certified. Now, the problem with that is that most installers want 2.5 to 3 grand to install one. The unit itself is £1,000, and then the course is only like 600 quid. Do you see where I'm going with this? So yeah. If only there was a gadget to cool your new bed as well. That's true, there is. It's less good at cooling than it is at heating, which is kind of obvious, but it is a little frustrating to deal with, so I don't know. Room for improvement. The exhaust out the window in these things is annoying. Built-in AC would be nice. Yeah, well, the problem with portable air conditioners is that they are really inefficient. Not just in straight power consumption, they are that, but they also have to draw in the air from the room to heat up, to then exhaust the hot air out. So what that creates is negative pressure in the room. So all of the hot air that's in the rest of the house or even outside gets drawn in, that then the thing has to cool again. So really, this only really helps when you're just like sat right in front of it. It doesn't really bring the temperature of the room down much. Sometimes it can do a good job, like as it's heating up outside, you turn it on and then it sort of keeps the temperature where it was when you started. But yeah, also they heat soak really badly, so it's really efficient for the first like hour, and then it's just running the whole time because it's heating itself up. And so yeah, I really want proper like outdoor, a mini split outdoor air conditioner unit, especially because they're all heat pumps as well, so you can have it heat you in the winter. But yeah. Only costs about $700 to fit a split system, or $1,000 to $1,200 for 2 heads, 1 unit. I have a sneaking suspicion the price difference is mostly because supply and demand. There is probably, especially nowadays, quite a lot of demand, and yet there are very few people who can actually, who are F-gas certified, who can install them. And so they can demand higher prices because they're booked up the whole time. So, like, yeah. But yeah, the cost of the course is half, plus the unit is half the price of getting a professional to install it. So Definitely considering it. Yeah, yeah. I found if I have it running in the dining room pointing to the living room is very cold, but the dining room is warmer. Yes, exactly. That's the thing. Like the output air can be pretty good, pretty cold, but around the unit itself gets warmer because that's what they do. uh, my legs feel weightless, lol. That's probably a sign to stop. If at all possible, please, thank you. Good job. Um, Still better than melting. Oh yeah, for sure. Like I'm glad that I have it. I just wish that it was much more feasible for me to get proper air conditioning installed. Because it's not that difficult. Uh, Again, especially from like working on cars, I have a decent amount of like experience working with air conditioning systems. Um, so like, I know what the deal is. I did structural repairs to this house. I kind of know, roughly what I'm doing with that. But yeah, uh, yeah. Hello, Jim. How you doing with those things? The heat doesn't magically disappear? Sadly not, no. Otherwise we wouldn't be in this whole global warming kind of mess, you know? If it could just magically disappear, that'd be great, but... Oh yeah. Might tell a couple of my mates, send them over and they could earn a fortune. They really could, yeah. They install generally 2 systems a day and it's so easy to do. Yeah, exactly. I mean, like so for people who don't know, an air conditioning system is made up of between 2 and 3 parts, depending on how you count. You have the outdoor unit, which is the compressor and condenser. I always get them confused. Although if it's a heat pump, it can actually reverse to become the evaporator. Anyway, um, you have that. You have the lines, the 2 refrigerant lines, and the data power line for the indoor unit that run from that to the indoor unit. And then you have the indoor unit itself, the bit that gets mounted up on your wall. That is literally just a radiator and a fan, and like a motor to move some, flappy bits. Um, that's pretty much it. The refrigerant lines are generally pre-filled or pre-vacuumed, depending on how you count it. So you just drill 2 holes in the wall to put the pipes through, along with the data wire. There's normally encased in like the sheath of one of the wires. And then you mount the unit to the wall. You attach the lines to it. You go outside. You mount the lines along the wall to the unit, to the outdoor unit. You mount the unit either on the ground or to the wall with some wall brackets. And then plumb them up. Connect the lines. You just generally screw them on, press them on, whatever. And then depending on the system, some systems do require you to have a vacuum pump to draw a vacuum on the lines before then opening the charge out of the main unit, because it's often the main outdoor unit that comes with all of the refrigerant in it full, and then once you attach the lines and draw a vacuum, you can then open the valve to let the refrigerant out and cycle around the system. And then some, I believe, are kind of like bicycle brake lines where they're sort of pre-sealed, so when you attach them, and open the pressure, that release, like that blows a little sort of, basically a bit of rubber out that was sealing the vacuum or the refrigerant in. But even the actual, like, even if it was a completely empty system and you had to recharge it, all you need is a vacuum pump, your bottle of refrigerant, and like kitchen scales. Because you just weigh the bottle and then you just keep pouring like refrigerant in until the bottle weighs however much its charge is meant to be in the unit less. It's kind of it. So yeah, like I said, it is fairly simple. You just need to be F-gas certified to do it in the UK, and I'm not that. Yep. Is the outdoor unit like one of those magical heat pumps? Yes, it is. It is an air-to-air heat pump. Because air conditioning is just a heat pump. What we think of when we hear heat pump is bringing outdoor heat indoors, as in warming your interior. Air conditioning does that, but it just takes the heat that was in the house and dumps it outside. It is a heat transfer method. It happens to be a very efficient transfer method. It's generally 3 or 4, or an air conditioning, like interior to exterior case, like 5 times as efficient. So for however much energy you put into the compressor, you get 4 or 5 times that amount of energy out or in, depending. Kind of depends on the temperature differential and stuff, but yeah. And so yeah, all of these new air conditioning units, like mini split units, are reversible, so they can take the heat from inside or take the heat from outside. Either way. I do love Technology Connections. He is my kind of autist, and I love it. Yeah. And yes, it's a reversible expansion valve. Because the way that the systems work is that the refrigerant, as it changes state, so it goes from a liquid to a gas, that one of the laws of thermodynamics basically means as you pressurize a gas into a liquid, the more pressure you have, the hotter it gets. And if you rapidly release pressure, you rapidly decrease the heat. So when you're doing cooling, you are decreasing the heat to draw in ambient heat, to then take away again, to then heat up, disperse, and cycle. And vice versa. If you're going from the outside, you are cooling the outside radiator to draw ambient heat onto it, to then bring that inside, to then disperse it inside. The main difference is also that, like, heat pumps, as we hear about them, are generally replacements for boilers. So they have, at least in the UK anyway, so they have it's sort of air to water heat pumps, rather than these air conditioners, which are air to air, which I think is less efficient, and it's also less, like, it's not centrally run like homes in America often are with central air. So when you install air conditioning in a British property, generally speaking, you don't really have any other option other than to just install units in given rooms, basically. So yeah, there's an air conditioning lesson for you that you didn't ask for, but you're gonna get anyway. You're welcome. Um, rapid expansion is cool. Tell that to my burger stuffed belly. Yes. Compression is hot and expansion is cool. Hello, Tammy. How you doing? For context, we're talking about gases and air conditioning, not... Well, we're not talking about what she's talking about. That's different. Just context. Ah. Oh, I got 2 new graphics cards in, actually. Yeah, you're not wrongish. The 9060 and 9060 XT or whatever, the 8 and 16 gig versions. Yeah. So I should have a video comparing them at some point. Yeah. Yeah. Has there been any interesting tech news this week? I mean, I know in the world of Formula One, the interesting news is Red Bull team boss Christian Horner has been sacked. 8 gig cards. I thought all YouTubers banned those in this day and age. Well, you see, my name's not Steve. So no, I mean that's kind of what I want to test basically with the 8 and 16 gig card. Emergency services vehicle going by, kind of loud and annoying. Yeah, I want to test the cards out, see what the performance difference is, and see how much VRAM still matters right now. What playlist is it? This is all music by OOY. OOY? OOYE? It's all royalty free. OOYY, there you go. And also a couple of tracks from Tiger Blood Jewel and Kilrude. They're all from Epidemic Sound. They're all royalty free, or at least royalty free because I pay for a license, because this is my job. I need to, you know, pay for the music that I use. I could use YouTube's library, and I used to, but Epidemic Sound had a much wider selection, so yeah. But yeah, it's a lot of OOYY music. And I really like it too. It's what I use in a lot of the videos when I do remember to put some music in. Oh dear. Yeah. And I like this playlist has been playing in the background of these streams for probably years now. It was only I think like last week that I actually like turned it up. Enough that you should actually be able to hear it now. So I'm a good streamer. I've been doing this for years. Yeah. I spent a lot of time this week coding, actually, writing code for my new boards. Trying to make the various tests work and stuff. I think I hit a bit of a brick wall with one of the tests, actually, but I'll work it out. Um. Uh. Hello Yeti. How you doing? How's things? Am I using AI for coding? No. I'm using my brain. And my web hosting link in the description is dead. Which one? Is that domain.com? Because I haven't used that in a long time. Which might explain things. Uh, yeah, which one? I will set a reminder, or actually, no, that's mine. Oh yeah, I I was drawing the charts that I'm gonna be including in the tool. Um, yeah. Let me. It is domain.com, right? Yeah. How's my smart regular ring? I did what I said I'd do in the review, which is take it off as soon as I finished it. So yeah. But if you turn it up, then it might cover the pauses between talking. And who really wants to fill the void in their life? Well, that's part of the reason why I put it on, actually, because I added a noise gate, which does cut the mic off completely when there's no talking or no noise. Like that. And so, yeah, I didn't want you to be sitting in silence and in discomfort the whole time. See? Um, Tammy, that's the first of me. Maybe I'm uninitiated. What do you mean? 8 gigs still okay for most games up to 1440p on medium to high settings, but when you go to 4K or super high quality, then you may have issues. Also, newer games do require some more memory. Yeah, fair. I think the the question that I would ask is a 9060 really a 4K gaming card? Are any of the 8 gig cards? Are the GPU cores that are in them really good enough to care about the VRAM amount? You know? I mean, that's what I'm kind of hoping to find out, but yeah. Have I gotten a chance to check out Obscure? Um, Curious if you like the game. I haven't. Notepad? Pencil. Did I spell it right? Oh, Claire. Well, that makes more sense. Um, I've actually noted it down. Fair chance. Insert my precious meme here. Indeed. Uh, Oh, the smart ring. So I reviewed the Ultra Human Ring Air. The review is up on the channel. Feel free to watch it if you want. The video I think is titled "Do You Need a Smart Ring?" And basically, it's essentially like a Fitbit, but instead of a thing here, it was a ring here. It had like 6 days of battery life. It did like sleep tracking, heart rate monitoring, blood oxygen content, heart rate variability, all that sort of stuff. Wanted data on every part of your life to send to their servers. But yeah, it's still pretty large. It's uncomfortable, and if you didn't buy a Fitbit, or if you didn't use your Fitbit, you won't use this. So, yeah. Do you think that AI will see dedicated ASICs overtake GPUs, similar to what we've seen back in the day with crypto mining? Could see GPU prices return to normality someday? So the answer is sort of, but also, well, okay. The answer is sort of. We already have dedicated AI hardware, right? Intel's Lunar Lake chips have and Meteor Lake chips have an NPU, a neural processing unit. I think AMD has something like that in their mobile chips, maybe. Might be going mad. IBM's chips that they had that I was went to their like HQ to look at, and HQ research lab in Germany. Those chips have AI accelerators on board, right? So we already have dedicated AI hardware. The key distinction I should make though is that the AI hardware that we have, like in your phone and in a lot of laptops and stuff like that, is inferencing hardware. So there's two distinct tasks that you do with AI models. There is training, which is incredibly intensive, and then there is inferencing, which is you give it data and it spits out an answer, right? That's just running through the model and having it spit out your answer. That's actually a much easier task to do, which is why we can fairly easily have dedicated hardware that does it, and does it better than a GPU can. So yes, the training side of things, I have a sneaking suspicion that there is already some level of dedicated hardware, at least being designed for better, more efficient, and faster training. Because I think it's all about like vectors rather than integers, whatever. So, so I suspect that yes, there will be dedicated hardware. Whether that will then mean that the price of GPUs will come down, I don't know. Because the problem is that the GPUs themselves aren't high priced because everyone is buying 5060s for AI, right? It's because Nvidia is raking in so much money over it, like over AI, like from AI, that they just don't care, and they're just gonna charge however much they think they can get away with, right? Which is what they do anyway, but there's an extra layer to it this time. Is that they don't really care if they get the balance wrong anymore. Because it's now an insignificant part of their business, right? So yeah, I don't know. I think the first part of your question, yes, we will have dedicated hardware. The second part of the question, will GPU prices come down? I don't think so, being honest. Because like with crypto, the prices were driven up purely because the crypto people were buying all of the cards, and like AMD and Nvidia couldn't make the cards fast enough to just ship them out the door. And so you kind of got like scalpers, and the companies scalping their own, hardware. This is not because demand is high. This is because demand is elsewhere. AI is such a AI are such a bunch of lying apps full of misleading rubbish, and almost correct fallacies, as well as the slop leading to stop scoring. Yes, yes. Meanwhile, Bitcoin mining is still steady in the background. That nonsense still hasn't gone away. Yeah, that's true as well. Yeah, I mean, a lot of like the AI startups, when you peel the veil back, it's just slave labor. So yeah. Having a blast with it. It's the perfect millennial dad with 3 kids and 2 jobs game. Bonus that I still love TBS games to this day. Nice. That's a tough one, as a 4070, 5070 can do 4K high quite comfortably. Yeah, that's the thing. The 60 class kind of, I don't know. Once they have 500 warehouses full of cards that aren't moving, then prices will change. Well, yes, that is true, but yeah, it's a bit of a vicious cycle because everything is. Hello! Upgrading a CPU from an i5-12400F to a 14700K to pair with a 3060 Ti. Is that a good upgrade? As I did have a bottleneck before. Yes and no. A 12400F and a 3060 Ti is a really good combination in terms of value. The thing about bottlenecks that people often, let's say, in my view, misunderstand is that it's not a hard and fast like rule, right? Because you can almost always add a faster CPU or GPU and get more performance out of it, right? So that 3060 Ti, you can probably get 5 or maybe even 10% more performance with that faster CPU, right? You'd probably get a little bit more with a 9800X 3D, but that's besides the point. So like, you can always drop in a faster CPU and you'll probably get at least a little bit more performance. Generally speaking, though, it's the graphics card that is the limiting factor in the performance between the two, or it makes a bigger difference in upgrading. Which is to say, that is a perfectly decent upgrade. Just don't expect light years more performance out of your mid-range card from upgrading CPU. Because the CPU, like, unless it is a dual core part or a quad core part even, that's real slow, you're not going to see night and day performance difference between those two. Especially on a mid-tier card. If you're talking about, I don't know, a 5090 and a 1200F, then yeah, you're going to see a lot more performance because that's sort of a bigger difference, right? But, yeah. I have an AMD 9600X and with a 4070 I borrowed from a friend and it works great. 4040p high and rock solid 60 FPS with Wukong Ragnarok, etc. Nice. My 3800 XT still doesn't break a sweat when I fire up a game. Exactly. But the thing is that you could drop in a 5800X 3D and you'll probably get more performance out of the same card. But you can also drop in a faster card and get essentially more performance out of the same CPU, right? So that's the balance that you make. And what I say about bottlenecks is that it isn't just a yes or a no. It's a balance. It's a granular thing. Even with the 4060 Ti, you can probably get more performance out of that with a 5800X3D. It's probably only 5 or 10% at most, but you can. But whether that's a worthwhile upgrade or not, it's up to you. Oh, and before we go, I just want to mention, I actually posted a video on my other channel. It's the lap timer review. Please do go check it out, because I did put a lot of time and effort into it. And yeah, I think it's kind of interesting. So it's also kind of a tech review, because it's a car related thing. Anyway, yeah. Thanks for clarifying. Wants to get rid of the bottleneck, as I would get FPS drops in Apex. I ran the new CPU and current GPU through a couple of calculators, and it said it was. I mean, fair enough. Yeah. I don't know how much I would trust, like, bottleneck calculators and stuff, but it's all a balance, and if you want to shift that balance one way or another, it's not a bad upgrade for sure, and means that when you then upgrade your GPU in a year or two, you'll be able to get better performance out of that GPU than you would have otherwise, right? So, yeah. Anyway, I think I'm gonna leave it there. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Hope you all stay safe. Hope you all have fun. And yeah, these are every Thursday night at 8 PM UK time if you want to pop back next week. And yeah, video tomorrow, video Monday. Please go check out the At The Wheel video. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next video next week. Bye!